I can't, but I was having some audio issues. Oh, but it looks like I'm not the only one.
Looks
You're
like
coming in loud and clear.
Yeah.
All right, is that better? Anyone hear me now?
Yes.
Yep, there you go.
Yep.
Sorry about that. I was speaking the whole time, but I didn't know my mic wasn't working. Okay, so we got 18 people here. As I was saying that no one could hear me. Pavitra and Jude are out, so I'll be running the show today unless someone else is keen to do it. So no volunteers. I guess we'll just get started. Second, I'll get the screen shared. Okay, so now everyone should be able to see my screen. Let's close this tab. All right. Welcome to the Blockchain Weekly Meeting for April 18th, 2023. Mainnet check-in. So we had a hotfix a few days ago. So far, I've been tracking all the miners, and we do have a majority of miners upgraded. So thanks to Aaron for getting the hotfix out quickly. The forking is so far a lot better. We haven't seen any long forks in a while. When we first launched the hotfix, I noticed that the foundation miner was forked quite often, but it seems to be doing a lot better. I don't know if it's related to the hotfix at all, but we're keeping an eye on it for now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So question about that hotfix. Is there like a disclosure plan for the issue? Yeah.
It's an excellent question. I would love to see that, yes. It kind of comes down to your time, Aaron. You discovered it. You're very familiar with what was fixed.
Yep.
We don't have a specific location to share it today. I know Mark has been looking into that directly, so we'll have to figure that out. But I think it is a good idea to disclose it, yes.
Cool.
Will that be a forum post while we figure out where exactly it goes? Or are you thinking of a separate location or method?
I don't know. I'll speak to Mark about this after the meeting and potentially Mitchell to see if if we can set up like a specific location to share these things. But yes, going forward, I would absolutely like to see, disclosures of when we fix vulnerabilities long term.
Yep. And something like just like a template format, because I think that for these kinds of disclosures, there's frequently just like a couple of important pieces of information that everybody wants to see in the disclosure, like when we discovered it, how it was discovered, when the patch shipped, that kind of stuff.
I know a few miners have upgraded, but are we out of kind of, to put it lightly, are we out of danger? Or have majority of them upgraded? Are we ready?
Yes, majority have
Okay.
upgraded. Looking at the most recent blocks, let me check it right now. As far as last night, the majority of blocks being mined, yeah. The vast majority are all on the hotfix at this point. There's only a few that are on the older version.
Okay, so we're good for the disclosure to go. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. My understanding was that as soon as we have more than 50%, we were safe. 1 minute, I gotta get my dog out of here. He is really loud.
I think we have a question here on the chat. Aaron, if you can give a TLDR for everyone else's benefit on the call.
Yeah, so the hotfix changed one behavior in the miner behavior. So the miner had some logic where if it saw that there was block data that it had not yet processed, it would prevent the miner from mining. And so there are like certain cases where it's possible that like if a miner had like a staging block that for whatever reason wasn't getting processed, like let's say it was waiting on microblocks, it would prevent the miner from mining, or importantly, doing a replace by fee on its like sort of previous mining attempt. So it's like possible that a miner could end up mining a sibling because of that. It also just may be the case that this upgrade was like a forcing function on miners to upgrade again, because this is kind of like, this has been the third patch release on 2.05. So this is like 2.05.0.0.3. So it's like possible that some miners were running 0.01 or 0.0. And there's been various miner behavior changes in these releases. So it's possible that like kind of any of these things could have contributed to reducing the orphan rate. It may also just be that because of this hotfix with the Trusted Machines miner coming online, there's just like sort of more heterogeneity amongst the mining operators, which also would have reduced mining behavior or orphaning behavior.
Aaron, one point there. You mentioned 2.05. Did you mean 2.1?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. 2.1.0.0. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of aligns with what I've seen in the wild, is just people updated 2.1, but they hadn't updated to any of the point releases after that.
Yeah. So that certainly also could have contributed a bit to some of the behavior we were seeing. Because yes, various of those point releases alter aspects of mining behavior.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah.
Testnet check-in. Charlie?
Things in testnet seem to be going just fine. If anything, we've been having some performance degradation issues in mainnet, though. I was going to bring that up later.
Okay. Excellent. Issues and PRs. You want to start with PRs or go to issues first? Anyone?
We can start with PRs. Any PRs which are not frozen, we can just talk about like what they're waiting on.
Got it. And I'll apologize beforehand. It's a little hard for me to hear everyone.
Yep.
Just because the speaker's not too loud on my laptop here. All right, so we'll start just down the line. Best mic. This is very empty.
Yeah, can you just hit that request button next to my GitHub handle?
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll take a look at this and see what detail needs to be filled in here.
Okay. Update open API. Oh, this is Mark's. I think Mark is on today.
Yeah, this was an extremely simple one. There was just a typo and extra space that was causing it to parse incorrectly. So yeah, just removing the extra space.
Okay. Everything. Yeah, everything looks good. Feel free to merge it.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, okay. Docker Compose setup. Stepyan and I are working on this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything to talk about right now for it.
No, I think it's still too soon, but yeah, we are kind of, I'm progressing slowly. Jesse's been helping me. So like, thank you, Jesse.
Yep, no worries.
And I hope to have this finished before the end of the week or like end of the week, something like that.
I think that is very reasonable. We're, yeah, I'll take a look at it after this meeting and we'll get there.
Sure, thank you.
Pravithra is out, so we'll skip this one. 3645. Oh, this is only from the other one. Yes. Pravithra's looking into it. Ah, okay. Yeah, this is the one that he. Yeah. So there's a lot of discussion around this one right now. Yeah, we'll leave this one alone for right now. There's some open-ended discussions on what to do. It's not worth the chewing up meeting minutes for that one. Add tag specifications. Everything's out, so there's no reason to talk about this one. Draft Stacker DB sync.
Yeah, so these are the Stacker DB PRs are all frozen.
Sorry, say that again.
These PRs are all frozen currently.
Oh, I see it right there, the tag. Okay.
Yep, yep.
Great, great.
Yeah, I think we have the fuzz testing PR and then your CI workflow PR.
Yeah, yeah. So I do have a question for that one.
Cool.
Bryce,
yeah,
you have anything to talk about here?
Scott might.
Okay.
Scott here. Yeah.
I'm here. Looks like there's a failing integration test. That's surprising to me. I'll go take a look at that later. This should be ready to review. This adds some basic fuzz testing for like the type checker between 205 and 21, and then there's another one that Bryce had written for least super type. I'm using this as a base branch for the exploratory work into creating stacks contracts with AFL. That's not ready for a PR yet, but this one should be ready to review and merge in, and then we can use this as a basis for any future fuzzing development.
Sounds great.
I just took a quick peek at that failing test. I think it's probably just a false negative. I'm going to rerun it right now and see if it passes.
Perfect.
Let's see, what were we? 34, 37. Frozen CI workflow. Yes, Aaron. This is kind of a question for you. I can't merge this using GitHub. And the reason why is that we have security set up on the repo that has to pass the tests before you can merge something.
Yeah,
Because this changes those tests. None of the tests are passing.
got it.
So it's more of a question of, you know, is it acceptable just for me to push this through? Like I can disable those security tests temporarily.
Yeah, I think the answer is yes.
Okay.
Ultimately, this is like a power that should be used sparingly, but like I think that this is sort of clearly a case where that's the only way this could ever merge.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I just didn't want to just do it.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't feel right to do it that way
Yeah.
without having input.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. So like, once this is approved, which it is approved and it's updated and ready to merge to master, I would say just go ahead and do the manual merge.
All right, I will do the needful there.
Cool.
Pravita again is out. Let me just take a look at it.
Yeah, I think those last two are frozen.
Is it? It is, you're right. Okay, cool. Going to issues.
Yeah, so we can start, let's go backwards, maybe starting at a week ago. Yeah, so Stacksnode unable to find Bitcoin wallet.
Yes. So I did share the information that Tabaka shared with Yuri. I haven't heard back from him yet. He sent me a few messages this morning that I haven't checked. So I may know more soon about this one. I haven't had a chance to test it myself either, just with the hotfix going on and other things.
Yeah.
So it's still open. Integrate SBTC artifacts. Not applicable right now. I think this is just an issue just to move the repos that Trust Machines is working over to this organization. Is that correct, Igor?
Yeah, just a reminder to ask for feedback as early as possible. Yeah, it'll be integrated at some point. So just want that visibility for the expectation.
Perfect. Okay, no problem there. Do not reward orphaning. Yeah, this could be a good one.
Yeah, I'm setting up a meeting to discuss this. You all should have an invite on your calendars, either for later this week or next week.
Yeah, I think this was a one I was interested in as well. Like I would like to take a little
Okay,
deeper.
I'll include you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Would it be helpful to talk about it right now, or just wait to the meeting?
Yeah, we can.
I think it would probably be something, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like I have fully grokked all of this yet. I don't know. If other people have, then yeah.
I think let's just do it on a meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Deep code that becomes unnecessary after 2.1 transition.
Oh yes, this one's me. This is just
Yeah.
an exciting thing to get to delete a whole bunch of code after now the 2.1 is active. Basically, we can delete a bunch of stuff that was there for the 2.05 to 2.1 transition. I'll take this one too. It's like the type checker and the parser and the AST rules. It'll be a whole bunch of cleanup. So it'll be a good one.
Shift delete.
Yeah, I like issues like this. Will this affect the fuzz testing PR at all?
Oh, that's a good point. It could, because the fuzz testing was comparing between like the old version and the new version. So I'll take that in consideration and talk to Scott about that.
So potentially
Good
we
point.
could remove even more code.
Potentially, yeah.
Nice. Okay, fork rules.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So this starts like a series of like 6 or 7 issues, which capture all of the proposed fork rules in SIP 21. This is probably the easiest of the fork rules to apply from SIP 21. This is just about applying an absolute limit on fork depth. So SIP 21 proposes just like after 100 blocks, you cannot fork. That's very easy to apply in the code. So this is the issue covering that.
And Aaron, I don't know if this discussion should be part of the previous one as well,
but I have
Yeah.
some related thoughts on this entire forking stuff.
Yeah, I think that it's probably worth stalling any implementation on like this kind of stuff until like, because I think that there's like a whole bundle of sort of like proposed consensus changes going
Yep.
on. I think it's probably useful.
And I think if you try to sort of like look into the future, that where the world is heading, I think a bunch of these sovereign rollups that are going to come up, they're just going to follow Bitcoin finality, right? No waiting for like 150 blocks before they follow Bitcoin finality. I think something worth exploring, that what exactly are we gaining out of the weight of the 100 blocks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I think it's
Yeah, so
definitely
I think basically the difference between the two is this is for Nakamoto, and the other stuff could potentially even be earlier, right? That's how I'm differentiating between this issue and the other one.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah,
Quick
here's
question, Aaron. Is this proposal similar to what was proposed in the forum from Frieger to try to help with the forks that were happening?
So this specifically wouldn't really help with any of the forks we've seen. Like we've not seen any reorgs anywhere close to 100 blocks.
Mhm.
Other proposed changes here probably would help a little bit because they make forking beyond 6 blocks much more difficult. But like if we're thinking about things like sovereign rollups or other kinds of like rollups, yeah, that like alters the consensus, entire consensus
see,
rules.
okay.
So yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you. 64 Stacker endorsement key registration contract. Another
Yes. So this is also SIP21 related. So in SIP21, there's this notion of blessing block commits, which I have unilaterally decided to rename to endorsements because blessing implies that there's something divine happening, but there's not. This is quite a mundane process. And so, so yeah, so these are just issues related to that. So this is introducing sort of the a contract where stackers can register endorsement keys.
Did you see Jude's comment yesterday?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was going to reply to him.
Okay.
It's kind of like a design choice whether or not it's a hard requirement, especially initially.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, similarly, this is about endorsement key management. And I think there's some like active discussion here about various ways this could be implemented.
Okay. They're all Aaron issues.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I just like created a whole bundle of issues. So yeah, this is right. This is sort of the result of that endorsement.
Stacker endorsement wire format.
Yeah. So in SIP21, they proposed these endorsement messages with Bitcoin transactions, which I think we should do. This issue just sort of covers that.
Okay. And the peg handoff wire format.
Yeah, implementing the wire formats as specified in the SIP21. I'm working on this currently, so hopefully I'll have a PR out tomorrow. But
I do see here that the transactions can be queried through the RPC API. Does that mean that you're looking into adding some RPC endpoints to the blockchain?
We already have one endpoint for like querying SPTC ops, and this maps really well to that one. So I'm adding, another, extending that endpoint essentially.
Oh, excellent. I like to see more RPC endpoints.
Nice. It's good to hear.
Okay, discussion. Scheduled call for proposed changes to the mining protocol. Is this the one that you were talking about, Sorella?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have an invite. Is it something that we have to ask for an invite or?
No, I'll include you when the invite goes up.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, anyone else who wants to be invited, just ping Sorella or maybe just share it in the Stacks Core Dev channel, maybe.
Yeah, will do.
Okay. Mainnet performance degradation.
Yeah, that's the one that Charlie had brought up earlier. We're noticing a performance degradation with the latest patch, the hotfix that went out.
Yeah, yesterday we upgraded a lot of our nodes from 21002 to 21003. And since then, we've seen a noticeable shift in performance for posts to posts that resolve in 200s and successful GET requests, as well as unsuccessful GET requests, so that result in a 404. So I'm not entirely sure why this is necessarily happening. So I was kind of hoping to open this up. Maybe we could discuss the changes that were made in the latest release and hypothesize from there.
Where do you see the degradation? Is it in CPU?
It's specifically in response time.
Okay.
Yeah. So the only paths that changed in .3 versus .2 are in the minor path. And so unless the nodes are operating as a miner or a mock miner, there should be no change whatsoever in the node's behavior. And so I'm pretty hesitant to say that the performance degradation is like due to the upgrade. Like I wonder if just like, there was like a slight workload shift where like maybe someone is requesting paths or was requesting paths that they hadn't been previously. And because like the Stacks node is pretty sensitive to different workload types. So yeah, some post endpoints are heavier than other post endpoints. Like response time on transaction posting is like a little heavier weight than like response time on like the fee retrieval endpoint. So yeah, I would be pretty surprised if this was at all related to the hotfix.
I could say that I know that the throughput has not changed since before the upgrade and after the upgrade, meaning like we didn't receive a traffic spike or anything. And looking at the logs, we were receiving like the same amount of like 404s, for example, on certain endpoints. I can't tell necessarily if traffic shifted from one series of endpoints to another that might have caused performance issues. But it doesn't seem like there was any noticeable shift in like traffic size or throughput. I can say that there was also a performance degradation for our APIs as well, like the Stacks blockchain API that was occurring around the same time. But we've since downgraded the APIs to a faster version, and we're still seeing issues with with these Stacks blockchain endpoints.
When you see the slower response times, is there any corresponding change in CPU or memory or anything like that?
Nothing that I could tell. It seems to be keeping up just fine, hardware wise. But yeah, I don't have like an issue out for this yet. So we could collaborate more in there. I'll create an issue for that today and post whatever findings I have.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see the logs of these follower nodes. Yeah, sounds very strange. Okay, anyone else for discussion?
Yeah, it sounds like Hero Gamer has something he wants to talk
Yeah, I
about.
just saw that in the chat. Yeah, go ahead, Hero Gamer.
Hi guys, sorry. SIP resident here for Stacks Foundation. Just want to bring up a quick SIP item as sort of from facilitating the SIP process perspective. So I saw Pavitra's initial timeline for selecting the proposal was the 21st. But in there, it hasn't got the allowance for all the reviews that the SIP committees need to go through. So I just want to bring this point up to let everybody know that it takes at least 1 month for all the reviews to take place on a very short sort of sped up timeline for all that review process, but almost like 2 months if we go through the standard process. So just want to bring this up. I don't know. I just want to get an idea whether that 21st of April is still sort of the date that you guys thinking of selecting the proposal for any hard fork? Stacks 2.2?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately the date is dependent on the approval process. So, yeah, if the approval process can't move quickly enough, then the date is going to move.
Yeah, I would say the approval process can sort of start from say when the draft is ready, because different committees need to read the actual thing. So it's sort of the standard process, I would say a standard timeline. It also just allows everybody to do their, daily tasks. Like we cannot promise everybody will be there. It's hard to arrange a meeting when all the people are together, reviewing everything together. So that allows that little bit of time. But if it needs to be sped up and everybody really need to get the review process done quicker, I think it's possible. But we just need to make those committees aware ahead of time. The draft is coming to you for review at this specific week commencing when maybe for 1 week or 2 weeks, if we can have your decision, that would be the way to shorten the timeline. But yeah, but like public voting is the one that takes the most time really. And that's whether you guys want to set criteria as 1 cycle or 2 cycles. In the past, it's always been 2 cycles. And then that's the end of the public voting. Then you conclude the voting. Plus, it takes like another month to actually get it live by what we experienced last time. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that public voting is going to be necessary here. So I don't think that we're going to be able to accelerate beyond that timeline. So yeah, once we have a proposal, I think that it's fine to start the clock then.
Do you know how soon-ish we might have or do you have any idea at this point when the selection of the proposal and the draft might be ready, or still too early to give an estimate?
I think that there is a timeline outlined somewhere. I don't have the date at hand, but I think it was like certainly before the end of April.
Yeah, this I posted what Pavitra wrote on the Stacks forum.
Got
This
it. Yeah.
this doesn't take into account of the SIP process. So I have produced a timeline with the SIP process, adding the standard process and the short-term process into the draft, into this timeline. And, you know, even with the quickest sort of conclusion of the vote would be in June, based on draft ready by the 20th, SIP draft ready by the 28th of April. And voting conclude at end of June. I guess 2.2 will be actual live 1 month after that or something in July. So that's the shortened, the optimistic or shortened timeline, I would probably guess. Just a rough estimate I was playing around. And if it's based on the standard process, we're looking at August, like even if you have it ready in April.
Is this all assuming that the MEV issues are addressed, Aaron? These timelines?
Yeah.
Because, you know, reading some of the things that Jude has written about this, my understanding is that, you know, if MEV is an ongoing issue for this fork, it can be a big problem. So the timelines seem very open-ended unless that issue is resolved.
Looking at these timelines, I'm not sure that they make sense to me. If the SIP draft is ready for 28, why does voting wait until like the end of May?
If the SIP draft is ready, we need reviewers to give they need to meet and give approval.
Yeah.
So let's say SIP draft is ready, we need like at least 1 week for SIP editors, I would imagine. And that's really, and then we have 2 weeks even give to the caps to review. So 2 weeks from the middle of May would be end of May.
So can I interject here? I feel like first, it would be great to hear from other voices as well. I feel like only a few people are speaking up and the ecosystem has many more stakeholders. So I would encourage folks to speak up if you have a voice in here. Second, at least my personal view is that, you know, this is like starting to sound like a very heavy bureaucracy. And I think that we should, like, if the ecosystem really wants some change to happen, I would encourage all stakeholders to engage in the process. For instance, if there are SIP editors who need time to review, I don't see any reason why those editors should not participate even in the initial discussion where the proposal selection happens, which we have not quite gotten yet to. But if all the stakeholders are already present and you know, people, the different stakeholders are part of that process, then the formal approval is, you know, just that, a formality, because everyone has been engaged in that process already. So whenever like this next call happens, I would just encourage, you know, all the SIP editors, whoever needs to sign off, just attend those calls and make sure that you're, you know, you're keeping yourself informed and you're providing your input. So we don't get into like this. I mean, at the end of the day, like these processes should be in service of the community, not just to kind of follow the process blindly.
Yeah, no, you're right, Diwakar. I agree. And actually, we touched, me and Jenny touched on this last week, that if we can get the caps and SIP editors involved at the very early stage, then later stage of the process can be reduced, you know. because last time they saw it the first time, so they needed for Stacks 2.2, many people saw the draft at very late stage, therefore they needed more time to review. I think this time, if we get them involved much earlier, it will reduce the amount of time they need to actually get the formal approval, and it will be, just like you said, a formality because they already reviewed like 95% of things up front. So I agree with you very much what you're saying.
If I can jump in too, I also agree, DeWalker. But I want to be prepared. So as the chair of the technical cab for the 2.1 SIP, I did get some pushback about kind of reviewing a document that was still live. And some of the cab members were unhappy about the fact that it was changing as we were reviewing. And you know, I think what you said makes sense, that we should be involved from an early stage, but some of the members might not be in agreement with that, and we should be prepared for that pushback.
Yeah, the dates that are listed in the chat are what concern me the most, because as Bryce just said, things can change in the process, and it made reviewing the SIP very challenging.
I don't think we need to stick to the timeline exactly. I just think it's a general guide for that's all. I don't think it's acting as any hard deadline at all, but just to facilitate, to give everybody allowance to time to think and gather and discuss.
Okay. A suggestion then, instead of using these dates, I would just use generic timelines, like 1 week after research is completed, the SIF trap is ready, etc. Or, you know, because here, you know, it kind of looks like we're trying to target a specific date rather than when everything is ready. And I think that was the complaint. 2.1 SIP process was we were targeting a date versus when it was ready. And there were a lot of, you know, a lot of complaints around that I'd like to avoid.
Yeah, I was just plotting out how far into the future that might become sort of the end date, not necessarily all the stuff in between. Okay, yeah, I'll make sure it's down more number of weeks perspective. Thanks.
Yeah, I also think, you know, the shortened SIP, I don't think that's a good option here, because we kind of did that for 2.1, and we did hear a lot of complaints around that process. I would definitely prefer the standard SIP for that one.
Sorry, did you mean shortened is not good? You prefer standard?
Yeah, that's my opinion, is that we shouldn't go with a shortened SIP process for a hard fix like this.
Yeah.
You know, there were some complaints on the 2.1 process. You know, as Bryce mentioned, some of it was shortened because things were changing as we were reviewing. So we kind of felt a little bit rushed. And, you know, the SIP was pretty large, to be honest.
Anyway, I just wanted to quickly bring it. I don't want to consume any more time. I just wanted to make everybody aware there is a little bit of time, you know, how much of the time, you know, it's up to how we all go about it. But yeah, we do need to allow a bit of time, and I'm here to help any of you to bring those people, stakeholders together for review. So do use me to help you guys. I'm here to facilitate you guys, not to add processes.
Do you have you mentioned this was in the forum? Did you link that?
Sorry? The Pavitra's timeline is on the forum, but I just for myself to understand what date we're gonna hit. No, okay. At the end, that's just for my own documentation. But yeah.
Okay. No problem. Just updating the notes. If there's a forum post around this, I would love to add it here.
I'll send you the link to Pavitra's post on the engineering side.
Perfect. Sounds good. Anyone else? If there's no other discussions, I say we cut out early. Any complaints?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you. Bye.
Running the